Do you know, Emma, I don't know what I did before period pants.
Oh my God, me too. Absolute game changers.
I live in my Wooker period pants because they're so comfy, and because I'm perimenopausal and I've got no idea when my period's going to arrive.
Did you know Wooker stands for Wake Up, Kick Ass?
Do you know what? I didn't, but it makes sense. I love them so much. What would you say was your favourite thing about Wooker and their period pants?
Oh, okay. I love the fact that they're the first and only period pants brand to create period pants that stretch up to 4 sizes. So my tweens pants is going to last her the whole way through puberty.
You said pants a lot there. I love that they're super size inclusive, ranging from 2XX to a 6XL.
I love the fact they come in different styles, different flows, so you can get the thong ones for those spotting days, and then you can use their super heavy range, which holds up to 12 tampons or 8 pads worth of blood.
I love how easy they are to care for as well. I just rinse them, pop them in the washing machine and hang them up to dry.
Oh, do you know they do swimwear as well?
I did not know that, but I do know they've got a wearable hot water bottle that is perfect for keeping cosy this winter. It's going to make a great Christmas gift for myself.
Head to wooker.co.uk and use the code CAT&M20 to get 20% off your order. All the details are in the show notes. Requires a minimum spend of £40.
Ready?
Let's go.
Hello and welcome to episode 5 of You're Never the Only One. I am joined as ever by the wonderful Emma Nicolet.
She says that now. There's a roast coming. So
There is a
we'll
roast.
see.
There's a roast on the way.
always a
If you're
roast.
watching this on Spotify, you might notice that Emma's got a new barnet, vibrant and purple. If not, take my word for it. She thinks it makes her look like cool and edgy. It's actually just covering the grey.
I've been through this with you. I'm not grey. I don't have any grey.
We'll never know. The other thing is, this isn't on the script, so she won't know this is coming, but she's also partial to a big Trumpy fart on the red carpet. Last night, were we not at a big fancy charity event? And as you were on the red carpet at the press board,
I asked permission first.
you said, I think I'm going to fart.
No, I didn't. I said, can I fart? As you were taking.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
fine,
then
some pictures,
it came out and it echoed down the hallway.
The acoustics in that place were fantastic.
I haven't had a wet my pants laugh like that in such a long time. It was joyful. Anyway, she's a farty little hedge monkey. Over to you, darling.
Thank you very much. I'm so pleased today to be joined by Cat Sims. I'll just keep it very simple. Has never found a diagnosis she doesn't love. Honestly. You're like one of those doctors with all the different letters after your name, aren't you? They're all there. Just like that. Give me the meds. Give me the meds.
So true.
Is it on the NHS? Yeah, give me the meds.
Addict. The list goes on and on. All right, listen.
Can I just say before we go any further, I love your Christmas jumper.
Thank you so much. Got it especially for this episode. I've managed to drop water and coffee down it already. Standard. Brand new on. Do you know what's funny though?
Yeah.
Emma is wearing, again for those not watching, on Spotify, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Emma is wearing a jumper, a sweatshirt, pale pink sweatshirt with Father Christmas head on, who's wearing pink heart-shaped sunglasses and blowing a bubblegum. And I want you to know, you came down in that this morning because you stayed at my house last night.
Yeah.
I nearly bought the exact same sweatshirt. I showed you.
Yeah.
It was in my basket.
I know.
I went, look, I nearly bought it.
I know, it's
Imagine
mad.
if we turned up with the same Christmas jumper on.
I know, it's mad. Can I just, I'll give him a shout out because this was gifted to me. This is from, it's got, you can see a little embroidery on the sleeve there. This is from Brave Girl, sorry.
No, come on, get it
It's
right.
from
You've got one
Brave,
job, Emma.
I can't read upside down. I should have just known. I know what it's called. It's a Brave Bird Club. That's what it is. I'm just going to warn you, okay? We got very little sleep last night. I had a dry night. I didn't drink, did I either? I had a little glass of champagne when we got to the charity ball. But we just got it. We were like that. It's 11 o'clock. Then the DJ hadn't even come on. We were like, should we go? I tell you how tired we were. We skipped dessert. And that says it all. We skipped
and
dessert.
there was nothing about that dessert that I didn't love.
Oh my
It was
God.
milk chocolate, it was nuts, it was salted caramel, and we left. I was like, I
over
can't.
the menu, weren't we? From
Yeah.
start to
So
finish.
basically, you've got a podcast today hosted by two very sleep-deprived perimenopausal women.
That combo.
So
The brain fog. Oh, the
nobody knows
tiredness.
what's coming.
No, nobody knows what's coming. I might just fart my way through it.
That's the intro done. Okay, so it's now time for me and Emma to mine the minutiae of our lives.
Oh, I like that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Expose our to-do list, convey the chaos of our everyday lives, share the shit, reveal the ridiculous, and hope that in doing so, we can make you feel like you're never the only one who feels like they're holding on by a thread. So I'm going to give you, listen, as you've mentioned, we're in our Christmas outfits. I should probably start off by saying Merry fucking Christmas.
Not. Yeah,
Yes.
I suppose. You see, it's weird.
It's the 11th of December today in podcast land.
Oh, okay. Because right now we're like the only people wearing Christmas jumpers in
but
London as we record this.
It is the 11th of December now in podcast land, so I'm saying Merry Christmas. We've got Christmas jumpers on as the day of domestic doom edges ever nearer. It's one of my only resentments about growing up, you know, that the joy is sucked out of Christmas.
The joy is sucked out because you're responsible for creating the joy.
And I know that there are people out there, like grown-ups who are in charge of other people, who profess to truly love Christmas. Like, a bit like the grown-ups who profess to truly like Disney.
I knew you were going to say that.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
It's the same people. I just can't help but think, actually, they're just chronic people pleasers.
Really?
Yeah, I don't understand how you can run yourself ragged, your bank account bare. You can be cooking, hosting, cleaning, hosting again on repeat, changing beds, doing all of that stuff, dealing with tired, sugar-stressed kids. Just stop the phone call. Dealing with tired, sugar-stressed kids, picking up everyone's shit, being nice to everyone, and feel like you're living your best life. I just don't understand. It's not possible. It's not possible. And we're not even at Christmas, and I'm already over it. Like, Mickey Bubbles and Mariah are fully defrosted.
I love Mickey Bubbles.
Mickey Bubbles. Jimmy got told off once for calling him Mickey Bubbles side of stage.
By who?
He was at a show. I can't remember who was playing, and he was side of stage. Mickey Bubbles was on, and Jimmy mentioned Mickey Bubbles, and one of his entourage was behind him. And he tapped him on the shoulder, and he went, "We never refer to him in that way." No hint of irony.
Oh no. No, that immediately
makes you dislike him.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
That's like the whole "don't look me in the face" Tom Cruise thing. Immediately, no.
I know.
In the bin.
Anyway, so I do want to love Christmas. I know we're coming up. I'm really trying.
Yeah.
But I'm spending my time at the moment trying to get into the Christmas spirit. I might be a bit grumpy because, as you mentioned, I've only had 43 seconds sleep. So I've been trying to think about what else I've been doing this week. We were out at the charity gala. We got our glad rags on. I got fleeced at the silent auction.
Oh my God, you got so fleeced.
I genuinely was like, I'll put a bid in.
Yeah.
Early doors.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Pockets were shallow last night.
Pockets
I'll be honest,
shallow
in the room.
Apparently, not mine though.
No, yours.
I ended up.
Yours had a hole in it.
Where is it? Just throwing money at the problem.
What have you ended up with again?
I don't want to talk about it.
Go on. With your two children who, you know, left their stabilisers behind a long time ago. Go on.
My daughter's birthday is tomorrow.
Yeah.
And she has got a brand new frog bike for her birthday. So it's an expensive present. And, you know, already we're like, it's too expensive, really. But she needed a new bike anyway. I've ended up with another frog bike, but a balance bike for toddlers that I don't have.
How much did you pay for it again?
I don't want to talk about that was only 150 quid.
Honestly, I can't believe nobody else was bidding.
That's not all, though.
What?
No, I also came home with a night at Nobu in Shoreditch.
Yeah, that I thought actually.
I thought that was a
good
safe
deal.
I thought I'm here to do a good deed. I'm just going to bump up the bids early on.
Yes.
So that the men with the big pockets, the women with the big deep purses, can fly in.
Yeah.
Take their night at Nobu.
Yeah.
They didn't. So now I'm going to Nobu as well for 350 quid. So I'm basically, and I spent 100 quid on fucking raffle tickets. So I'm basically £600 lighter.
And then there was the taxi because we walked the wrong way out of the station for about 15 minutes and then we had to get a taxi back to where we came from.
It was a really expensive night.
Really expensive. And
but at least, do you know what though? It's all tax deductible, so that's fine. Charity.
And it's for charity.
It's for charity. Listen, other than that, I really haven't been doing much. I've done a lot of walking and working. I've got a new kitchen table and a new microwave, and that's basically it.
I know you were both, you and Jimmy.
Did we? We were very excited about our microwave.
I was so excited.
I know, it shows
tell me about your microwave and the fact that it tells the time. What's that all about?
I don't know, because I think our old one told the time as well.
Deprived. Can I suggest you get a new shower? Because that's shit. Sorry.
Listen,
honestly,
we need
there were
new
non-negotiables for me. All right, when you're staying over, the towels were good. 5 stars on the towels.
Okay, great. Give me a full rundown.
The bed. I was thinking about this morning.
Yelp review.
I'm here for the towels. Okay,
Great.
the towels were good.
Good to know. Let me take notes. Hang on, just so that you can be
Pass it on.
satisfied next time.
Can you let your daughter know her bed is super? I did tell her that last time I left her a note.
She's not responsible for
okay,
that.
That's good. You've gone. I don't know if you got a topper on there. It's good.
No, it's
good.
just a Emma
duvet.
mattress.
Excellent.
Great, thank you.
And pillows. Top one's good. Bottom one's questionable. I feel like you've really
ones.
scrimped on those bottom ones.
The bottoms were actually really expensive. They were sent to me as a
They've gone
gift.
into little bobbles, haven't they?
They're not
Inside
good. They were a gift. I'm not telling you who from, but they're not good.
Okay, all right.
Emma. Not a sponsor for this episode.
And what else? Yeah, no, your shower. The shower needs.
Listen, the shower's nothing to do with me. It was here when
It's
we got
drippy.
here.
The top bit's drippy now. If you don't want to get your hair wet and you're using the handheld bit, okay, you don't want to be standing there getting cold drips on you. So all I'm saying is, also, maybe a bottle of water by the bed wouldn't go amiss.
Do you know what? Next time, book a fucking hotel. Book an actual.
I tell you what,
hotel.
I'd be able to.
Do you
get
know what?
there
I wouldn't
quicker.
mind, but I literally
ran
ran
nowhere. Sorry, yeah.
I ran myself ragged yesterday cleaning
I'm only
that
winding you up.
house and bath.
I'm literally bleeding. It's like,
What have you been doing?
I just caught myself with my. I don't normally have long nails. I've caught myself with my own nail. A little part of me's quite proud.
All right, come on, tell us about your to-do list.
Oh,
you
God,
rat bag.
I will do. I just hope I haven't hit a vein. Right, here we go. So,
Next time you're on the sofa.
if we talk about spending money, you weren't the only one this week. I think it's the fastest I've ever spent any money. I spent 60 quid in under 5 minutes in the vet. So my
That
dog.
is not the fastest you've ever spent money.
No. I think that much money in definitely like that in the sense
Like
of
you walked
an
in the door,
experience.
done.
I walked in. I said, I'm a bit concerned. He's been having antibiotics for ear infection in both ears. So I'd already spent £150 on that.
Yeah.
I said, he's still going at it. I'm a bit worried. Straight in, she went, big bit of earwax, gave it a little rub.
60 quid.
I was like, and you know what I was really trying to do? I was like, I've been in there a lot with him, as you know.
Yeah, that dog, man.
I mean, he's costing me a fortune. And I was just like, so I was trying to be, I was like, hey, we're buddies now, thinking maybe, 'cause she loves him so
Mates
much.
rates.
Maybe. No, vets are, they are savage. They're not having, there's no mates rates at the vets anyway. So yeah, £60 to 5 minutes of basically rubbing his ear. I mean, I should charge her for that because he's so gorgeous. I mean, I went to the opening of my local pub.
Oh yeah, you told me about this. When I saw this on stories,
Did you see the band and everything?
It didn't look great.
No. Did you see the sausage?
I saw, yeah. That
What's
didn't look
happened
great.
is it's like a poison chalice, this pub, basically. I've only lived in Sussex 3 years and it's had about 4 owners in that time. And so what the brewery have done, because it's brewery run, so people are kind of they've got them by the balls with it. And so they've then, do you want to run your local pub? So someone who used to do glass collecting thing, then used to prop up the bar has gone, yeah, I can do this. I can't even, if you're listening to this, you know what? I wish you the best of luck. I really do. But
also probably not a sponsor
there was
for
very
this episode.
there was very questionable bar staff, and the point where they would fill your drink and then say, do you want ice with that? So after you,
Oh yeah.
right, and that was after getting it wrong 5 times. So it took me about half an hour to get around the drinks, and it wasn't because of the busy bar. It's because the girl kept having go, sorry, what was it again? And then just kept serving me the wrong thing over and over again. They ran out of booze before 8 o'clock, to the point that my mate had to go to the the local petrol station.
Sorry, what? On the opening night. A pub.
Yeah.
Ran out. They've literally got
They
one
ran
job.
out of vodka, all the rums, they had nothing. All they had was gin. And I'm like, okay, well, we haven't got a room full of kind of 50-year-old women, so I really think you're going to need some vodka, and stuff like that. So anyway, my mate had to go to the Tesco's Express at the petrol station in the next village.
Doesn't sound like a roaring success,
Mate,
does it?
It wasn't great. But there was a fight at the end, which I always think, I know you love the dopamine hit, the drama.
We had so much drama. On the tube home last night, there was a big fight.
Yeah.
Like such a big fight that people on the same carriage, not involved, got injured.
Yeah.
Like massive. The dopamine hit I get from the drama
normal,
is
isn't
like, is it normal?
Surely.
Because then on the platform today, when we were coming in, there was an old man shouting about, he was like, I'm 6 years old. Do I look like I have sex anymore? I was racing down the platform to try and get an eyeball on it.
Yeah.
I was like, I need this dopamine hit. I need the drama.
He came back like that.
I was so annoyed. So annoyed, didn't see him, don't know who it was. But, listen.
What did I say? great. He had great projection.
Great projection.
His voice, amazing. He should definitely be a voiceover artist. He should be on the stage. He was incredible. So yeah, that was it. Party back at mine with 3 teenagers. I love that. It was a guy who was choosing to come back to mine, even though he could have gone to Brighton to hang out with his mates. He's heading to Australia.
Cool with your purple hair.
I felt really down with the kids, and still they started playing. Like, I love this old tune, and they started playing that song. Like they said from when we were little. That was
one of the ones.
Bottoms up, bottoms up. You know, with Nicki Minaj in it. Can I get that coat? Can I get that? And can I get that salt around that?
Oh yes,
you know
that's not from when we were young.
No, not from when we were young. From when they were young. And I looked it up. I was like, what are they talking about?
It's like a couple of years old, isn't it?
14 years old.
Shut
that
up,
song
it's
is
not.
14.
No, it's not.
Old. 14. Can you believe it? Dismiss this girl. Dismiss this girl. You know the one.
I was laughing. He knows.
Thinking, how old are you? 27.
So young.
Jesus Christ, feel old. Anyway, other notable things. New series of Yellowstone.
Now,
3
do you know what? Do I need to persevere with that?
Yes. You will love Beth Dutton. Beth Dutton is like my spirit. Oh my God, she's amazing.
You can't say spirit animal. Do you know that? You're not allowed to say spirit animal.
Why?
It's cultural appropriation.
Fucking hell. Jesus Christ.
Let's do a quick apology.
Sorry.
There you go.
For
As you were, Karen.
Thank you very much. But she is my spirit animal.
She is your ghost pet.
All right, that'll do.
Ghost pet. Let's call her ghost pet.
Jesus Christ. I've got a travel agent license and...
Sorry, what?
Yeah. I'm sick of seeing everybody travel, so I've signed up. I've got a license, and it means I get like cheap travel. We'll have to talk about this. We'll have to talk about it. It's brilliant. And the only alternative to that, obviously, because I need extra money, is to start my OnlyFans account.
Listen,
sweat.
Now listen, we've talked about this.
You know where I'm going with this, don't you?
I think I brought this up to you, and I was like, "What can we do on the podcast?"
Hold on. Like, let's go back to what we saw on this morning.
Go.
Okay. So I could not believe I switched on this morning, and there was a very lovely young lady.
Very demure.
Very mindful.
Very mindful.
Talking about how she was selling little vials of her sweat. Little vials of her sweat for £1,000.
What? Hang on, I didn't realise it was that much.
Crazy. Well, she said, this is the thing. She goes at different levels. You can see Kat Deely was like, what? She was like, yeah, well, it depends. So if it's just sweat I've had from a workout, that's kind of my daily sweat, so that's fine. If it's requested sweat, I can charge more. Because it's specific, so it's it's personalised sweat.
What about this morning when you came into my room and I'd been working and I was cold, so when you're like, I'm cold, I'm just going to get into bed and work.
Yeah.
And I got into my bed and it was so wet. I was like, has my daughter pissed in the bed? Has the dog pissed? I was like that. I was sniffing it.
It was so bad.
I was like, it's not pee.
No.
And I realised, and I knew I'd had a night sweat night.
Yeah.
But I've not had one like that before. But I'm thinking...
It's a perimenopause symptom,
right, so this is what I think.
Yeah.
We were talking about the podcast and we were like, what can we do on the podcast that's like an ongoing story that gets people in? It's like a little tactic that people do, isn't it?
They call it an arc in radio.
It's an arc, isn't it? So it's like you have to go back to the first episode to listen to the whole thing. Exactly. Right, so we think, what can we do? One of the things we thought off the back of this segment on This Morning was that in a very tongue-in-cheek way, we could set up our own, OnlyFans account, the two of us.
Yeah.
What did we call it? Menopause
Muses.
Menopausal Muses, something like that.
Something. We'll work on that.
And we thought that we would really, really dive into the niche element of this sweat business.
You've already got a nipple hair.
Yeah, I found one yesterday that I've saved.
It's quite long, isn't it? We can put that in a vial.
Yeah, we thought we'd do nipple hairs. We thought we'd do night sweat.
Yeah, what else did we come up with? What other menopausal symptoms are there?
I can't remember, but there's plenty.
I think dry ears are one. Do you reckon people would...
No, dry mouth, spit.
Yes, that was it.
Dry mouth.
That's
do some menopausal spit.
That's elixir, that is. Because if you've got some saliva...
I'm just very conscious as we talk about this that there is a very handsome 27-year-old videographer.
Is that why you held back on talking about the nipple hair?
Yeah, I was a bit annoyed you brought it up. I'm going to be honest. And I'm not sure he realised what he signed up for this morning. So I'm apologies. But so I think we should do that. And I wonder if I feel like that.
I want to see if we can make some money from it.
Just as a joke. Let's do it as an experiment.
Okay,
you're going to set up the OnlyFans account.
Am I? Yeah, I suppose I should do something.
I think we should do in our onesies or something, really silly. We have to make it as if it's never going to work. Do our best to almost make it as unsexy as possible.
Okay.
And then see if we still make some money.
God, I'm so
see if there
excited.
really is people out there that will.
All right.
Okay. All right, that's it. Let's move on.
Now the self-indulgent moaning's out the way. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. I love that word, nitty-gritty. Feels good. Rolls off the tongue.
Nitty-gritty titty.
Gritty. Each week we embark on a topic we've brought in that we feel has room for discussion, something maybe that we've been masticating over in our own heads and then
That
perhaps
word.
discuss with friends. And it's led us to the conclusion that we are not the only one who thinks it. So we ask our followers, we ask you the listeners and the general public on the streets of London what they think, and then a small part of Cat's soul dies every week as she spends hours editing all of that footage together so we can put it on this here podcast.
In this
for you
here
guys.
podcast.
Kat, you're up first today. What's your
I am.
topic?
So mine is you're never the only one who's estranged from a close family member.
Ooh.
Now, I have to say, this is one of the most popular... This topic brought out the biggest response I've had so far.
Did you expect it to?
No.
Really?
But I got the feeling that people were just waiting for a chance to talk about their experience. Like it was almost like people were venting, because I think that there's so much emotion tied up in this.
An injustice.
An injustice, or a sense of injustice,
yeah.
whether or not there is or not. You know, people gave me so much detail. Like
Yeah.
I really felt that it was therapy.
So are you going to start with, this is someone that you're estranged
Yeah,
to.
so I'm going to tell you a little bit. I think what I've learned from the people that came back to me was that a lot of familial estrangement seems to centre around a parent who is sick or dying. Or has died or has passed.
okay.
That's really, really common. And I sort of understand that, because I think that there are so many heightened emotions probably surrounding that person that's sick or dying that they can't really deal with because that person's sick and dying.
Yeah.
So they sort of project it around to each other. So many were like, my mum was dying, her care wasn't this, or my mum died and they challenged the will, or all of this. And
Okay.
it's almost like these people switched instantly. Like up until that.
So it's funny, yeah, that I can see that in situations in my own family where you think this is when you should be pulling together.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think people are so scared when the people that they love, especially a parent, has passed or is sick, that ability to manage those difficult relationships around that becomes almost impossible.
Okay.
Like that's the feeling I get. So there was a lot of that. There was a lot of estrangement around divorce, new families, blended families, which is kind of my story as well. So, and there were, of course, people who talked about estrangements due to like abuse and addiction. That kind of kicked me in the solar plexus, obviously. But it also made me really grateful, because I thought, you know what, I'm 3 years clean and sober.
Yeah.
Like, that could have been me.
Yeah.
So there's that real sense of gratitude. And it was that it's not easy. I feel very intense, or I have felt incredibly intense pain and sadness about an estrangement, because it wasn't my choice. So I am estranged. We've been skirting around it. Myself and my half brother have been skirting around it for years, but I am fully estranged now from him since last summer. And I thought about whether to talk about this or not, honestly.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Like it's quite a lot. But I think it's really important, because I don't hold any resentment now. I don't hold any pain. I don't hold any regrets. It's not about me. You know, that's the thing. And I think that a lot of the times when you get divorced, when you're the child of a parent who has kids from a previous marriage, I think it's really normal that the kids from that previous marriage sort of resent you, don't really
Deep
accept.
down.
Yeah, because
yeah.
I think if that divorce is really painful and messy, and you've got your own pain from that, a child like me turning up just sort of stands as a bit of a representation of that, with or without it being their own fault. And so I think that honestly, there's a lot of stuff in my situation that isn't actually anything to do with me. It's not even really much to do with him. It's just a set of circumstances that, you know, he's put a boundary in, really. And I'm just collateral damage in that. And it's taken me ages to get to a place where I can be at peace with that. But also, I don't want a relationship with somebody who doesn't want a relationship with me, and that's okay.
When you say you've been kind of skirting around it, I don't know how much to kind of
probe
Really?
away.
So when you see him skirting around it, how does it get to this stage now? Is it arguing over things? Like is it?
I think I grew up as an only child because I was the only child from my parents' marriage, and they both had kids from the previous marriages, but I never lived with any of them.
Right.
So I grew up essentially as an only child, but I had this deep desire to have brothers and sisters. Like I felt very, very lonely as a kid. Excuse me, and I think my parents always did this thing where they go, oh, there's no such thing as half brothers and sisters. Everybody's brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So that's sort of what the messaging I was given.
Yeah.
But it certainly wasn't the messaging I was receiving from those brothers and sisters. Like,
Right.
because of course
That
there's a
makes
lot
sense.
of stuff going on.
I get this because I've got 2 half sisters.
Yeah. So I was, I think as a kid, I used to like, it's really sad, it might make me cry. When I went to boarding school at 11, I used to write him a letter every week, like for years, and never got a response. Like never, ever. It just break my heart.
How old was he at the time?
So he's only 6-7 years older than me. So he was probably about 17, 18. So
Well,
obviously,
I mean,
like,
I'm not being funny.
do you know what I mean?
17-year-old's going to write.
Totally.
Yeah.
But like for me, it was just like
He would have texted you.
constant rejection.
Yeah.
You know, it was hard.
Yeah.
And I think I just spent my whole life trying to kind of bend myself into being palatable to him. And I don't know where I got this fixation on him. Like my sister, his full sister, my half sister, we get on really well.
I think the idea of having a big brother is really nice, isn't it?
Totally. Like I just wanted
a big brother, yeah.
like as a kid, I always gravitated towards friends that had big families.
Yeah.
So like I never had a best friend that was also an only child. Like I wanted to turn up at their house and be part of their brothers and sisters. Like I craved it.
Yeah.
And it was just like constant rejection that just made me very anxious. So I think we were skirting around it in that we were sort of civil, and then we'd go through really good periods, and then something would happen with Dad and him, and then I would kind of, it was just a very messy situation.
Yeah.
But I think I am now at a place of just like, I wish nothing but the best and the highest good for everybody involved. But I have to accept people, places and things the way they are and not the way that I want them to be. And, I get it. He's not unjustifiably angry.
But he just never has wanted to give you the time. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, never.
Right. Okay. All right. So now it's just like. Yeah.
Never. And there was definitely a point a couple of summers ago where there was a flashpoint. Yeah. Which I won't talk about, but there was a flashpoint, and I just remember experiencing that and going, and it was like after 43, it was like there was a bolt from the blue, and I went, never going to happen.
Right.
It is never going to happen. He has now made it extremely clear that he wants absolutely nothing to do with me. Like, at what point am I going to keep going back to get kicked? It's like a little puppy.
I get it. What does your dad think about it?
I mean, listen, my dad, I love him. He isn't perfect, and I think there's definitely a huge, he's got a big part in it. I think he is heartbroken that he doesn't have a relationship with his son.
Oh, so it's not just you that's been estranged?
No. I mean, that's what I mean. I'm definitely collateral damage.
Oh, man.
But I also don't think Dad's ever, I think, and he'll probably be listening to this, and I'm not saying anything I wouldn't have said to him, but I think that there's probably a lot of stuff that he needed to take responsibility for sooner. And I don't know I just think it's maybe too late. And I think we just have to accept with love, like that disconnect with love. Yeah. That's kind of the motto. But family estrangement is really, really difficult, and it's really complicated. And as I say, we had so many. I'm just grabbing some emails that I printed off. Here's one I made earlier. I mean, look. So this one says, "Hi, Cat and Emma. Wanted to share from 2 angles with you." She's a therapist as well. Firstly, I'm currently estranged from my brother following an incident 2 Christmases ago involving our dogs. Briefly, the dogs were being dogs, had a tussle, and our dog was injured. Brother's response was the issue versus what happened with the dogs. I don't really understand that. I don't think you need to. I think in these things, it can be such a small thing that just sparks this enormous emotion. Arguments between him and my husband, which last year was sort of repaired, or so I thought, but my brother has since dropped off all contact and will only communicate to my children on their birthdays. I'm lacking energy to tackle this. A long history of him having mental health issues, and me and other family members having to be mindful of that and always consider his feelings. So there's that resentment of like, which, you know, I totally get. It's like, this is just, you know what he's like. That is like the most painful thing to hear. It's like, you know what he's like? That's just the way he is. You know, it's really hard. This is not mental health related, and there is little consideration from him about me and my feelings. Happy to leave it for the moment, as I don't have the emotional bandwidth to go into discussing it and being in a position of feeling like I need to apologise. Not a permanent estrangement from my perspective, but don't know exactly what his position is. And I think that's the same with me. I would never say never. You know, you never know what's going to happen.
You're open.
Totally, I'm always open, but I'm also not making the moves anymore, you know?
Yeah,
like
I mean, see, if I was in that position, I'd just be like, what do I need to do?
Well, that's what I've spent years.
What do you want to
I've spent years and years and years doing that. And I think when I finally got that message that was like, this is it now, I just thought, it's not about me. It's about a lot of pain and a lot of hurt that's to do with lots of stuff that happened when he was a kid, like, and dad and all the rest of it. It's like, it's not about me. Like, it can't be at this point because I've done everything.
Yeah.
And I respect that. She also says, secondly, in my job as a psychologist, this is a common topic with people experiencing a lot of emotional pain over the estrangements and equally a sense of pressure internally and externally to maintain the relationship despite its negative impact on their life. Usual comments from others such as, oh, but it's your mum. So I know that there's a woman on Instagram, Harriet Shearsmith, whose handle I cannot remember now, but she talks extensively about her estrangement from her mum. She chose to do it. She talks about having a narcissistic mother, and she talks a lot about the negative feedback she gets going, oh, you've only got one mum. She's like, yeah, but mine's not a nice person. You know, it's interesting. There is an obligation to have that relationship regardless of their treatment of you. My work with a lot of people in these situations is giving space to figuring out their position without influence and then putting in boundaries to manage their decision. This could be knowing that you don't want to cut off a family member but have a limit of a 2-hour lunch catch-up, for example. Keeping it manageable, no direct contact. You know, there's lots of things. So I think it is something that if you're struggling with, I do think there are experts out there who can help you with tools and tactics to manage it in a way that doesn't cause it to get worse. This next one, I'm Jen, 46 from Dublin, and boy, do I come from a mad family. Typical of Irish families where we don't speak about anything, sweep it under the carpet, don't ask, don't tell.
Like, so,
not just Irish. I made the decision to cut ties with my mother over a year ago, coming off the back of years of a very broken, difficult relationship with her that deeply affected me. It was something silly that caused a row that she was having with herself, to be fair. I can just imagine an Irish lady like having an argument with herself. But it was a turning point for me as I decided I was simply not participating in that toxic behaviour anymore. Just because you're related to someone doesn't really mean anything. Since I hit my 40s and felt like I'm not listening to people lie anymore, I was abused by my mother's brother. You see, it's so much mess tied up in all of this. Between 13 and 14, I was left living in my grandmother's house. You know, a place myself and all my cousins look back on with horror. You know, there's lots of nasty things that go on and build up. Stuff that as a kid you're not able to process. Nobody's talking about. And then as an adult, of course, that shit's going to come back up. Of course, you're going to have those resentments. And it was honestly, you know, as we're coming into Christmas, families are not easy. And I think I just want to say to anybody out there who's struggling with family and dreading Christmas, because I did used to dread it. I used to feel always like I was walking on eggshells or anxious about, you know, it was just, and then I was so grateful if I got any like hint of affection or, do you know what I mean? And it was just so painful. And I just want to say to people that like 9 times out of 10, if you're estranged or if somebody's estranged you, essentially, it's probably not it's not because you're a terrible person. It's a decision they've made for themselves, whether or not you agree with it. I think that place of acceptance with these things is the only place that you can go back to. You know, I think you have to just get to a point of acceptance, recognize that it's not about you. I mean, unless it is about you. Like, unless you've been a total cunt. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know if that's the case. You know if you need to make an apology. You know if you've really messed up. You know.
I've not spoken to my dad since February.
How did I not? Oh, but you do, you know if that's the case, you know if you've got a part in it, because again, it's that thing
Yeah.
between fault and responsibility. It might not be your fault that this has happened, but you've definitely got a responsibility.
Okay, that's good.
And so I think that if you look at it and you go, okay, they've behaved really badly. I haven't reacted great.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't perhaps been as empathetic as I could have been because I've got into my own feelings.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's where you need to get, if you know that you need to apologise for something, or if there is something that you just want to make it clear and walk away.
Yeah, that's...
You can't make an apology with an expectation of a reconciliation. That's not how it works.
Okay.
You know, I believe that we make an apology to keep our side of the street clean, so that I can walk away going, I know I've done everything I can.
Yeah. I
don't make an apology so that they apologise back to me. It's really hard. Because also I don't like apologising.
I'm the worst.
It gives me like proper sphincter clenching, squeaky bum bum.
Especially because you justify it, don't you? Justify all the reasons why you don't need to.
Do you know, I can apologise to my kids so easily.
Yeah.
And I have to often.
That's because we're trying to teach them not to be like us.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't have a problem with it. I'm like, I'm really sorry I lost my shit. Like,
Yeah.
I shouldn't have done that. You know, there is no excuse. I'm not at my best. I love you. And they're like, fine.
Yeah.
If I have to apologise to my husband, I would rather carve my own eyeballs up and dip them in lemon juice. Oh, God. And I know I have to do it.
Yeah.
You know when you have to apologise. And I sit there and I'm literally like, come on, you can do this. Like,
yourself
come
up.
on. Like, I'm like, fucking,
Pep talk.
I'm carb loading. I'm stretching. I'm like, come on. Like Rocky up and down those stairs. You can do this. And I still go in and I'm like, choking on the words. It's like stuck in my throat. I'm like, and I've got that look on my face where I'm like, I'm really sorry. It still doesn't seem like, and I'm really trying to be genuine, but it is physically painful.
I know. I get this afterwards. Well done. I know
Yeah.
how hard that was for you to do. and that actually is the best thing you could say to me, because I'm like, yeah, well done me.
Yeah.
Back in control.
Yeah. So true. Honestly, I find it really hard. But it is, but yeah, it was really painful. I was estranged from a half-sister for over 12 years. Half-sister, you see, this half-sibling thing is really tricky. We've made peace over my mother's deathbed, so only July of this year. More than that, my partner's mother, I've not spoken to her. My partner's mother. Okay,
Mother-in-law.
got it. Mother-in-law. I've not spoken to her for, I think, 4 years now, and he hasn't for maybe 3. She's not seen her only grandson for 5 years, and he knows nothing of his paternal grandmother. It's a convoluted story that can be summed up with, once I got pregnant, she changed. Whether it was some unresolved trauma, I don't know. However, she ignored boundaries from me as a new mother and had literal tantrums. She manipulates the truth and is full-on toxic. I cut ties, and her only son did so a year or so later. We do talk about reconciling. However, she remains toxic. And with a young child now, it's my duty to protect him. It's really interesting because the in-law thing is very messy. Like,
I mean, I'm blessed with the best, so...
You've got Joanna Lumley, basically, haven't you?
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard. But again, when you've got small children involved...
Yeah.
That boundary is really easy to put in place. I have to
Yeah.
say, like, the boundary for me,
Yeah.
me going back and getting kicked as a puppy, like a little puppy, I did that for years and years. The thought of my kids going into that situation and getting rejected, that boundary's straight down.
Yeah, well, I sent my dad a birthday card actually last week, just
Did you?
because I'm still doing that, because it's him that's decided not to talk to me,
Right.
and it's to do with his partner, which has
Right.
been
Yeah,
an
see,
issue for
very
a long
messy,
time.
yeah.
And and it was something involving the kids that
Yeah.
she did when I was last visiting, and it kicked off. And I sent him a message just going, I sent him a birthday card. I sent him a Father's Day message just going, I'm just letting you, I know you don't want to speak to me, but love you, miss you, happy Father's Day. And his birthday card as well, I just sent it just going, I hope you're well. So I heard about that you'd fought, because I also know he's hurt himself as well. So I'm like,
It's really hard.
You know, I'm not going to pick up the phone because I know what he wants, and that's an apology for his missus. And it's like, what she did, I feel, was not justified. But I said to him, the kids miss you. They miss their pops. So I know you don't want to speak to me, but I'd like you to consider maybe speaking to them.
Yeah.
Because you do. You just kind of, you feel like you need to protect them in a way. Why should
Totally.
they suffer?
Totally. And it's... Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to talk about, and it does get really messy. Generally, I just try and focus on the fact that I'm probably part of the problem, if not the whole problem. Like, in general, there is definitely... So I try and go, what have I done in this? And actually, my part in my situation was continuing to go back.
Yeah.
That was my part in it. And I was getting angry and angrier every time I went back. And he was like, I don't want a relationship. I was then playing the victim. And he couldn't have been fucking clearer. Do you know what I mean? He couldn't have been clearer. And I'm there going, no, but how about now? How about now? No? He's like, yeah, still absolutely not. Oh. Do you know what I mean? And at some point, my part in it is that I had to accept that I was doing it to myself.
Yeah. That's tough though, because the messages weren't there from when you were little. The messages were...
No, but you know, it's
not from your dad anyway.
No, not from, no, but you know, our parents' generation... emotionally are so, what's the word I'm looking for? Guarded. You know, it's very much like, don't show, don't tell.
I was about to say, we don't talk about our emotions.
We don't talk about our emotions.
I think about my dad.
Everything's fine.
If you peel back all those layers of the onion, actually, I think sometimes it could be more damaging.
Yeah.
Because actually it's what makes them this kind of stoic generation that just kind of keeps on keeping on, you know?
Totally. And I think in a lot of ways that worked for them.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of stuff that I think that was almost a necessity.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't play anymore.
No.
And so that's something that, you know, we're constantly battling with as well.
Did you get any voice notes on it?
I had loads of emails. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at a way to kind of share some of those stories off podcast. Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll do some extra content around it or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think what I loved about this is that it's really common. And it is one of those things that I didn't think that many people were struggling with estrangement.
Yeah.
And so genuinely, as much as we joke about You're Never the Only One, like it was, to me, it was really helpful to hear all those other stories and know that I'm not on my own.
Right. Isn't that funny? Because you come at this from the angle of going, you're never the only one, making other people feel less alone, but it's actually...
Because there's a real sense of shame. It's like, how bad must you be that one of your closest family members doesn't want to have a relationship with you? But actually, it's really common. So I was really relieved. It was a great thing. We're definitely going to figure out a way to get more of the audience participation out there. But
thank you to everybody that sent in those stories.
Huge thank you. Yeah.
Firstly, I think a part of it is that I am delusional to the fact that because I still look at people my age around me and I'm like, they're grown-ups. I'm rocking around with my Minnie Mouse backpack. I think mentally, and I'm being generous here, I think I got stuck somewhere between the ages of 20 and 30 years old, kind of in my head. And so I'm in denial that I could possibly be a 45-year-old. And also, let's not forget, and I'm going to blame the 90s again for this, Cat. They've got a lot to answer for. But you remember the Golden Girls?
Yeah.
Blanche was 51. So Blanche, her character, was 51 years old.
Do you know Stifler's mum? 37.
Right.
It's not okay.
It's not okay.
Not okay.
So I am not okay with the fact that I'm nearly Blanche.
Do you know who Stifler's mum is? Okay, good. Just checking. Just checking that we weren't alienating a whole generation at that point.
No, definitely not. That's got to be that's the Lost Boys.
Yes, but do you not remember last week we went on the Vox Pops and we asked somebody if they knew who Pamela Anderson was, and they looked at us like we were mental.
We were like, Baywatch? Nothing.
Pamela Anderson.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I know. Shocking. Anyway, we are edging towards Blanche right now. Okay.
Oh, you are.
Okay, I am. I'm not okay with that. I have no grey hairs. I'm just gonna point that out again. And the signs are there. Okay. There's a sprinkle of all mythology happening. Not a twitcher, but I've got an app that recognises birdsong now, and I've got one that, like, if I walk past a plant that I like, you know, that is just living in the wild, because I wouldn't bring it back to my house.
It'll tell you what it is.
I can put a camera over it, and it comes up and tells me what it is. There's some things that, and my supplement game is top notch. It is strong. Got a little plastic pill box holder with colours, days of the week. Mine's
not supplements, it's actual proper, like, crazy meds.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because
different.
I've never met a label I don't love.
And I know this will resonate with people listening, and they're probably, it might even in their own heads right now be using that phrase. I feel seen. I hear what you're saying, Emma, but I feel very unseen, actually, in the big scheme, in a different terminology, I guess. I think it began at the point where the kids just became just more independent, less dependent on me, and could do their own stuff. And so I'm like kind of out of the parental trenches, it feels like now.
Well, you're not identifying as fully 24 hours a day as a mum.
I'm not Emma's mum. I mean, I'm not
No, you're
Molly's
definitely
mum.
not Emma's mum.
I'm not Molly's mum. I'm not Barley's mum. I'm back. I'm Emma again.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of rediscovering who that is post motherhood. I think that
I mean,
is
to
where
be
this
clear,
has
your
started.
children still exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still here. It's just that it's entered into a different, more detached
It was
phase.
all it was about. I didn't think everything was about them. And it's kind of coincided with hitting perimenopause. You know, early stages definitely for me. The weight loss, the weight gain.
I was about to say, I haven't got that, but I haven't got that perimenopause.
So the weight gain, the struggle to lose it, it becomes harder.
Nipple
Where you
hairs.
hold it, so places where used to be like kind of, I always had like a flat stomach. It was never an issue.
Yeah,
Now
me
it's
too.
just like gunt.
Do you know what it is as well? Do you get this? And I really relate to this. It's, you know, people say, oh, your body changes.
Yeah.
I remember looking at my mum, who was she was a geriatric mum when she had me, which is in 81. So she was 36, which at the time was like,
I hate the fact
so
they call us
old.
geriatric.
They still call you a geriatric
Like
after 35.
35.
So she was geriatric. And I remember thinking, she's like, I don't ever want to have a body like that.
That's exactly how I feel.
And now I look down at the tummy that I have to sort of, you know, if you like shaving, you have to like lift it up a little bit.
When you lie down on
This
the
is
bed,
sexy,
and you
isn't
can,
it?
when you lie down on the bed and you feel it flop onto the
Yeah.
mattress.
You sit on the loo and it's on your thighs.
There, yeah, exactly. Rest your phone on it.
Yeah.
When you're having a shit.
Listen, there is one upside to this.
Yeah.
I'm never going to drop my phone down the loo.
No,
there is no thigh gap. There's no thigh gap. I'm never dropping my phone down the loo.
I'll be honest, there's never been a thigh gap. Not
No,
for,
I
not
have.
for
Do you remember I was
me.
showing those photos
You look-
yesterday?
yeah, amazing.
It's only 2021. God, I was fit.
You were. You still fit, babe.
Well,
just in a different
I'm
way.
just flabby and fit, which is fine. Carry on.
Creaky
continue.
joints. Another thing. I mean,
Old woman
are you
noises.
hearing me? Less energy. Like gravity is just pushing everything towards ground level. Like the face on the skin, the body,
Your soul.
everything. And I'm just
Your
like,
libido.
I feel like, weirdly though, I feel like I'm more mentally confident. I know myself better. I feel like I trust myself better than I ever have, you know. I love myself. Like, I feel really confident. I feel like I can come on this podcast and say what the fuck I want. And I don't care if I walk away from this and people go, she's a cunt. Or like, you know, they don't agree with what I don't care. Like, that I love about me. That I love that's come with
and
age.
it's not that you don't care in a defiant fuck you way. It's in a
No,
like,
it's just I'm really secure
Yeah,
in myself.
I'm not gonna
a
get in
good
the ring about
person.
it.
My moral compass I know is pointing in the right direction. I'm good. I'm good. Do you know what I mean? I surround myself with the right people. I'm making the right choices in that sense most of the time. I can see you thinking something I'm not going to say. But I feel a bit like I'm kind of fading into the background. I feel like I'm fading into the background and that people engage with me in a more kind of dismissive way. It's hard for me to put it into words. I feel like the problem with me is, Kat, I'm picking these topics which I feel like are quite, what would you say, diverse? I think they're quite diverse.
But they all have one very continuous, strong theme, which is a feeling of like a wrangling in some way with your sense of self-worth and confidence.
Yeah, and I dug into.
I don't mean that in a critical way at all, but it's so
100%.
interesting to
listen to. And as I kind of thought about it, and I'm writing it down, and I'm like kind of getting it out of my head, and it's not like I was a head turner. Do you know what I mean? And, like growing up, it's not like I've been. And we've been, you know, last week we spoke about kind of my confidence came when I put a full face of makeup on, which is why I've struggled to do what I've been trying to do recently. You know, and what I did last week was so huge for me because, you know, I think there is an element, and this is something I'll speak about on another podcast, if that kind of pretty privilege that comes, you know, with, you know, that things that go your way, that it just oils the cogs of life a little bit more. You get away with stuff. It might be, you know, not having a ticket.
do you feel like your pretty privilege is kind of draining away a little bit?
Yeah, I do. It's just, yeah. I guess that's it. Maybe it's maybe. I can't blame just the media, and I think things have certainly changed a lot. But I think the media and culture haven't valued women in our age group. So
that's true.
That perpetuates that kind of feeling as well, that you only really matter as a woman when you're young and you're beautiful, and that's when you have the most value.
Do you know what, though? I think it's really great that I think there's a way that we can reframe this. And I think there's almost a very strong chance that people can underestimate us.
Yeah.
In our age. And I think that sometimes you can use that to your advantage. Like, I quite like the fact sometimes that people sort of underestimate me.
Yeah.
Because I've got 2 kids and I'm at home and, and all the rest of it. And then, when you actually go, well, actually, I do this, I'm the main breadwinner in the family and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's like...
Pow.
Yeah.
Pow.
It's like...
Funnily, one of my followers actually said to me, she goes, actually, being more invisible has become my superpower.
Yes. That's kind of how I'm starting to lean into it. Also, it means there are times when you just want to be invisible, right?
Yeah.
Times when you're like, I'm bloated, I'm on my period, I've got spots all over the place, I'm knackered, I'm grumpy, I don't want anybody to get up in my grill.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, brilliant, no makeup on, hair up, greasy extensions out, like you can see the
In
whole
public?
thing. Totally.
Ugh.
Not showered for 2 days.
Oh,
They're my
don't.
best.
She didn't even shower this morning, for a fact. I know that. And bearing in mind, we just had the conversation where she thought
I did have a
that
PTSD
one of her
wash.
children had wet the bed. That's what her bed was like when she got out of it.
I
and
had
she
a
still didn't
PTSD
shower.
wash. I did pits, tits, slits and dicks.
It's so good.
So good.
It's so
good. Pits, tits, slits and dicks.
I love it. But can I just say, it turns out there's actually a well-known social phenomenon. When I started looking into this on Tinternet, there's an actual well-known social phenomenon in the middle-aged women called invisible woman syndrome. It's actually a thing. There's a lot of articles on it.
Wow.
And a survey that studied 2,000 women revealed that by the time they reached the age of 51, many women believe that they have become invisible to men. So there's a lot of the patriarchy in it, and which I think...
listen, I'll never miss an excuse to drag the patriarchy.
Yes, but only 15% of the women felt they had high or very high confidence in any area of their lives, and 46% thought no one understood or addressed what aging and older women go through. And I thought, by the way, can I just say, this topic came up because I had some friends around for dinner, and I thought it was just a female thing. I was chatting to my friend about it, and her husband was like, what are you talking about? And I explained, about this feeling of, being invisible after 40. And he said he felt the same, which really surprised me. And then I looked into it with men, and it was like, well, I read that this is really sad.
Oh.
Well, no, not in that way.
Oh.
But it's like, I read that the average age that men reach their peak of attractiveness.
Reach their peak.
Yeah.
Reek their peak.
Did I say reach?
Yeah.
Wow. I read that the average age that men reach their peak of attractiveness.
What is it? 47.
50.
Oh, shut up.
Guess what it is for women?
Oh, 20.
What do you think it is for women?
When do you think women reach their peak of attractiveness? Oh, no, I feel like we're setting him up to fail.
I think that would say something quite young.
Yeah.
I think it's going to say something below 30.
It's well below 30. It's below 20. 18.
Stop it.
18 is apparently.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
So men are deemed at their most attractive when they're 50.
Yeah, their peak attractiveness. Yeah.
Is that also to do with their bank accounts? Sorry. It's very unfeminist of me.
Mad, isn't it? 18.
But a woman, so from 18 onwards, according to society, it's downhill for us.
You want to hear what some of my listeners said? I really love this. I want to just share this voice note that I got. I listened to this when we got in last night.
I watched
about 1
Maths.
o'clock this morning. Did you?
I watched half of it.
You said you would.
I know, I watched half of it and fell asleep.
Because there was somebody there on our table from that. I felt really bad because I've never seen an episode of
Oh
it.
my God, I fangirled over her
it.
so bad. It was
did.
Jay from not this season just happening, just finishing, but the last before, and she's so cool. She's got one arm and she's so wonderful.
So lovely. And actually, she said she really wanted to listen to the podcast, so it's nice to give her a
Jay,
shout
out to you, darling.
You're a fab. You're a fab. Hope you got home safely. Okay, so I'm going to play out this voice note that I got last night from lovely Jen. Let me see.
Yes, and can I raise my hands to the roof for a major call out to the fact this is such a great thing to talk about. Feeling invisible as we get older as women. I 100% think this is because society has paved that way, that youth is beauty, and after you get to a certain age, it's deemed that you are not so desirable, and of course that's totally wrong. But I spent a decade in basically wearing a black sack because my body shape changed pretty dramatically having children. I might have had something to do with the fact that I also ate more food and did less exercise, but should I blame the kids? No, but it's so many things that go into that shift and change as we grow up and our bodies are different, and I didn't know how to dress that. I didn't know how to style that. I felt like I wanted to kind of fade into the background, and I think a lot of women feel this, which is why I feel so passionately about what I am now training to do, which is to become a personal stylist. And the reason that is because I think it is so sad that women spend so much of their time, and it's not even like a bit of time a day, it can be all encompassing, and it can be days, weeks, months, which actually when you think of it can lead to years of women not feeling like they can own their body and feel like they should draw attention to themselves, and that they feel that there's an unease with a changing shape instead of a celebration of that, and the fact that we're here and we're living it up, and that's what it should be. And so many of us fall into that camp of wanting to fade in the background. So yeah, after about 10 years of basically wearing anything dull, muted, and lacking in any sort of shape, to draw attention to any parts of my body or to me, I had a personal stylist because my friends clubbed together. I think they were like, she can really take this the wrong way, but they knew I loved fashion. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a fashionista in any way, shape or form. I get it wrong all the time, but I love it. I love the power of it. And so that was transformative. And actually she came in and she was like, what are you doing? Stand up, be counted. And it was a huge pivotal moment in embracing my changing body and wanting to feel good again and accounted for, and like I had a voice. And this is where I think it is so vital that we keep spreading that, talking about this, and getting more and more women to be proud of their change and what they look like and what they have to say. So I love that you're doing this podcast. Sorry, you probably were expecting quick sentence. Well, not from me, you weren't, let's be honest. But I just think this is awesome. It's a subject that is so close to my heart, to the point where I have actually potentially and crazily looking at shifting a huge part of my career towards it to try and spread that confidence and spread the word, man. So I love this, Emma. This is brilliant. Keep doing what you're doing. When are the podcasts out? I can't wait. I'm so excited.
So great.
So I just want to say off the back of that, like, I think that you get to 40, suddenly the medical establishment ignores you. They don't give a shit about menopause. Let's be honest. We've had to fight from the menopause. Fashion ignores you.
Yeah.
There are clothes for old people and there are clothes for young people.
Yeah.
But try and find me a top that isn't cropped. Try and find me a top that isn't cropped, that isn't also just a blouse.
Yes.
That's not happening. The beauty industry clearly is now starting to get around to it, but only in recent times.
Yes.
Everything and anything. So if you are a brand, just saying, if you're a brand, because you are missing a trick, because we are the people with the most money. Yeah. We've got more money than we've ever had.
Yes.
I literally have got more money than I've ever had. I could, if you're a brand and you are aiming it at a 40-year-old, in their 40s women, come and sponsor our podcast. Right.
Thank you very much. So yeah, you're never the only one that feels invisible after 40. There was lots, just to counterbalance that, there was lots of people also saying, I actually love the invisibility and I'm enjoying it. And
I think a combination of both.
There's also someone that messaged in saying, I take my dachshund with me to London. It's the only way to be noticed. And I didn't ask you to message me that. But thank you. Anyway, it was a big topic and we took it out to the streets to find out what people thought about aging.
Perfect. And just a reminder, this podcast is all about you and hearing your voices. So if there's anything you want to say about something we've said today or in a previous podcast, or indeed, most importantly, what we're going to be talking about next week, which I cannot wait to record, mostly because it means I don't have to prepare very much, then please either drop us an email at yourenevertheonlyone@gmail.com or leave us a voice note on our business WhatsApp, which is 07457 402 704. That's 07457 402 704. Save it as You're Never the Only One in your phone. Okay, next week's topics, super easy.
I love this.
So we thought, because we have next week's episode lands on Christmas Day,
We're gonna deck the halls.
so we're decking the halls with your. Basically, we're having a week off.
Yeah.
We're having a week off, and we want to hear your Christmas stories of horror, shame, hilarity. Some of the best ones I've got are the worst Christmas presents you've ever been given.
my
I mean, we
God.
could fill a whole episode with that.
You told me a few last night, and I was in stitches.
I know, honestly, my mum has pulled a blinder when it comes to bad Christmas presents.
I like the weird uncle stories. The weird uncle at Christmas. That's always one of my favourites.
Yeah, there's
You know
the
that
drunken
one-
guy.
Yeah, because it's like if you don't have a weird uncle, it's probably you.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. It's like if you're not in a side WhatsApp group, they're talking about you. So we want all of your Christmas stories, funny stories, worst presents, best presents. Did somebody give birth at the Christmas table? Like any of that kind of stuff. So email us or drop us a voice note. And that's it for another week.
God.
One more done and dusted, darling.
Yeah.
And we're recording this like maybe a few days before we launch, so it's quite exciting.
It is exciting. And guys, just don't stress out over this Christmas period. All right, I know it's a stressful time.
Honestly, just grab a
I'm
Terry's.
thinking when they're listening to this, it's just going to be. But
Yeah.
just don't let the overwhelm overwhelm.
Grab a Terry's chocolate orange. Pour yourself a glass of whatever it is that you allow yourself to drink, and just fucking put a onesie on and have the best time.
Good advice.
The things I say and do aren't always what I mean. I'm neither saint nor sinner, I'm somewhere in between. This world is complicated, everything moves so quick. You're lying to yourself if you think that you got it lit. Everybody knows you're never the only one. You're never the only one. Don't live inside your shame, 'cause everybody makes mistakes. Oh. Don't judge me, I'm a weakness. Don't judge me on my floor. 'Cause no one's really perfect by the grace of God goes so. Everybody knows you're never the only one. You're never the only one. Don't live inside the shame, 'cause everybody makes mistakes. Oh, taking the time to make sure everything's okay. Picking up like everyone else each and every day. When if there's nothing left for you to spend on you, you're allowed to be